I'm Dr. Henri Colt, and this presentation is part of Bronchoscopy Academy, an ongoing competency-based curriculum in flexible bronchoscopy. The goal of this work is to improve procedural understanding, anatomical recognition, and clinical judgment, while helping reduce patients' suffering associated with unequal expertise and inconsistent training. In this lecture, we will review the practical techniques used to perform conventional transbronchial needle aspiration. We will discuss methods of needle insertion, sampling of common mediastinal lymph node stations, procedural planning, and practical strategies that improve diagnostic yield while maintaining patient safety. Conventional TBNA is a procedure that rewards preparation and precision. Unlike forceps biopsy, the target lies beyond the airway wall and cannot usually be seen directly. Success, therefore, depends upon understanding three-dimensional anatomy, careful interpretation of imaging studies, and mastery of several reproducible needle insertion techniques. Although these techniques appear straightforward, consistent success develops only through thoughtful practice and attention to detail. Several methods have been developed to introduce the aspiration needle through the bronchial wall. Videos of these techniques are available elsewhere on the Bronchoscopy Academy YouTube channel. The first is the jab technique, in which the needle is extended beyond the catheter before puncture. The bronchoscope is held firmly while a quick, controlled forward motion carries the needle through the airway wall into the target. A second method is the piggyback technique. Here the catheter is stabilized against the bronchoscope, while both instruments advance together. This coordinated movement allows the needle to penetrate the airway wall with controlled forward pressure, supported by the joint needle-catheter bronchoscope ensemble. A third approach is the hub against the wall technique. In this method, the catheter is positioned firmly against the airway wall while the needle remains retracted. Once stable positioning has been achieved, the needle is advanced through the wall into the target lesion. Each technique has advantages, and experienced bronchoscopists often develop a personal preference depending upon airway anatomy, target location, and patient factors. An interesting technical observation is that patient coughing can sometimes facilitate needle penetration. During a cough, movement of the carina and surrounding airways generates additional force that may help the needle pass through the wall with less effort from the operator. Rather than viewing every cough as an interruption, experienced bronchoscopists occasionally use this natural physiological movement to their advantage. Technical success begins before the first needle pass. Conventional TBNA should generally be performed after completing the diagnostic airway examination, but before brushing, lavage, or forceps biopsy. This minimizes contamination of cytology specimens by blood or exfoliated epithelial cells, or any mitotic structures. Similarly, suction should be used sparingly during insertion of the bronchoscope whenever possible. If aspiration suction is applied during sampling, negative pressure should always be released before withdrawing the needle from the airway wall. This simple maneuver helps retain aspirated material within the needle and prevents contamination of surrounding tissues. Whenever available, rapid on-site cytologic examination, also referred to as ROSE, remains one of the most effective ways to improve diagnostic yield while avoiding unnecessary needle passes. Successful conventional TBNA depends heavily upon accurate anatomical localization. The subcarinal lymph node station, or level 7, remains one of the most accessible and diagnostically rewarding targets. Needle insertion is typically performed several millimeters below the main carina, with a direction toward the subcarinal space. Right paratracheal lymph nodes, designated level 4R, are approached approximately 2 centimeters above the carina, with the needle directed toward the 1 or 2 o'clock position. Left paratracheal lymph nodes, or level 4L, require a different orientation because of their anatomical relationship to the airway. Here, the needle is directed laterally, near the origin of the left main bronchus. Although these insertion sites can initially seem difficult to remember, repeated correlation between computed tomography and bronchoscopic anatomy rapidly improves spatial understanding. Needle aspiration is not limited to mediastinal lymph nodes. When endobronchial needle aspiration is used to sample visible airway lesions, forceps biopsy can be avoided, especially when it carries substantial risk of bleeding or when the abnormality lies primarily beneath an intact mucosal surface. In selected patients, needle aspiration provides excellent diagnostic material while minimizing trauma to the airway. Many technical refinements contribute to the success of conventional TBNA. Patients should be reassured that the airway itself contains no pain fibers and that needle penetration through the bronchial or tracheal wall is usually not painful. Moderate sedation improves comfort while preserving patient cooperation. Perhaps most importantly, careful review of computed tomography images before bronchoscopy allows the operator to mentally reconstruct the relationship between lymph nodes and airway landmarks before entering the bronchoscopy suite. Good communication with the bronchoscopy team is equally important. Simple commands such as needle out, needle in, hold the scope, or remove the catheter allow assistants to anticipate each step and reduce unnecessary movement during the procedure. Finally, maintaining close collaboration with cytopathologists improves both specimen quality and overall diagnostic success. Sampling strategy also matters. When staging lung cancer, for example, nodal stations associated with a potentially highest stage of disease should generally be sampled first. Sampling thus proceeds from the highest stage to the lowest stage nodal stations to minimize needle contamination and reduce the risk of false positive nodal staging. Specimen handling should follow standardized institutional protocols. Cytology specimens should be prepared promptly using appropriate smear techniques, while core tissues should be preserved for histologic examination. Both cytology and molecular testing are usually warranted. Even histology needles may yield valuable cytologic material when flushed appropriately. Finally, adequate specimens typically contain abundant lymphocytes with few respiratory epithelial cells, indicating that the target lymph node, rather than the airway wall, has been sampled successfully. Conventional TBNA is a technically elegant procedure that combines anatomical knowledge, careful planning, and disciplined execution. Success depends upon selecting the appropriate needle insertion technique, understanding mediastinal anatomy, coordinating effectively with assistants and cytopathology personnel, and obtaining representative specimens while minimizing unnecessary trauma. Although newer technologies such as endobronchial ultrasound, navigational bronchoscopy, and robotics have expanded diagnostic capabilities, in many settings, conventional TBNA remains an important and highly effective procedure in experienced hands. Mastering its principles not only improves diagnostic performance, but also strengthens the bronchoscopist's overall understanding of airway anatomy, disease, and procedural judgment. Bronchoscopy Academy is part of an ongoing competency-based approach to bronchoscopy education. Our goal is to reduce patients' suffering caused by unequal procedural expertise, inconsistent training, and preventable error. Additional educational resources, reflective essays, and narrated lectures are available at bronchoscopy.org and henricolt.substack.com.